Anatomic all-inside anterior cruciate ligament reconstruction associated with a modified Lemaire extraarticular tenodesis. Firstly, we harvest the semitendinosus tendon, which we will use for the elaboration of the plasty, as we will see later. To prepare the extraarticular tenodesis, we use an 8x1 cm iliotibial band strip. We detach it proximally and reference its free edge with a Krakow-type suture using a fiber loop, which will be used for its transport medially to the lateral collateral ligament and subsequent tunneling. We use a preparation table with curved columns to elaborate the plasty. The distance between them should be 5.5 cm to obtain a plasty with a length of 7 cm. We mark the total length of the tendon and approximately 2.5 cm on each end, which will be referenced with a fiber loop. We remove part of the excess tendon if it's necessary to achieve the desired length once the tendon is folded over itself. We pass the tendon through the inside of the tightrope RT on the right side, corresponding to the femoral side. In this side, we will have both ends of the tendon with their sutures. We also pass the tendon through the inside of the tightrope ABS on the left side, corresponding to the tibial side of the final plasty. We must ensure that both ends are inside the loop of the plasty, then transfix the thickness of the semitendinosus tendon with the needles of the fiber loop on both sides of the tendon, being careful not to pierce the femoral tightrope RT. Then we will pass one fiber loop to the other side through the inside of the tightrope, and with its needle we make the first transfixing stitch, which will serve to unify all the fascicles. At this point, we cut the suture loop, obtaining 2 single threads. We will use them to give alternating transfixing stitches, upwards and downwards of the plasty. When reaching the end, we leave the thread inside the loop, and we repeat the same procedure with the other thread of the same fiber loop, so that when tying them together, the knot remains inside the graft. We cut one of the ends and bury the other one in the thickness of the semitendinosus before cutting it definitely. Then we get the loop from the other side and we do the same, using it to unify and compact the tibial end of the graft, obtaining a 7 cm long tetrafascicular plasty of semitendinosus. At this point, we create a 25 mm socket in the femoral anatomical footprint and reference it with a loop suture. We make the Lemaire tunnel with direct vision to avoid confluence between both femoral tunnels, and then perform a 35 mm tibial socket. We reference it with a single shuttle suture that we retrieve through the anteromedial portal with the femoral loop socket reference. We suspend the ACL plasty with the tightrope RT in the femoral socket by inserting it from the anteromedial portal. Most of the reference suture is then retrieved from the tibial socket through the anteromedial portal, and a single knot is tied over the shuttle suture referencing the tightrope ABS. This allows that when we recover the tibial tightrope ABS, the tibial socket is still referenced with the simple shuttle thread. Here we can see how we introduce the tightrope ABS through the tibial tunnel, and, by pulling from it, we introduce the plasty into the tibial socket. Once completely tunneled, we check the correct graft tensioning in full extension of the knee by manually pulling on the tightrope ABS. When we are sure that the plasty is correctly tensioned, we will finish the surgery by fixing the Lemaire and fixing the tibial end of the plasty. If the sockets do not provide the right tension, since we have not lost the tibial transport thread, we can tie it again to the tightrope and take the graft back to the anteromedial portal, thus facilitating the surgery in case of needing to increase the length of the sockets.